I just gotta go back to the spoon. I can't eat with fork. I can't eat rice with fork.
I'm a fork person.
Spoon, you get more food. Just get more. Just mix that.
What's up, guys? My name is Manny, and today I'm here to answer one question once and for all. Which country makes the best jollof rice? I'm not a jollof expert, so I'm gonna be meeting up with jollof aficionado and Nigerian beauty and lifestyle blogger, Ijama Kala. She'll be taking me to 3 of New York City's highest rated West African restaurants. Okay, so let's get into this debate. For those who don't know, jollof rice originated in the Wolof Empire that existed in present-day Senegal and Gambia between the 1350s and the 1540s. It's a dish made of rice with a base of tomatoes, peppers, onions, and various seasonings. Jollof made its way across West Africa by way of military expansion and trade. Today, it's eaten in countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Cameroon. Because of this, there's a slight variation in how the dish is prepared in each country. Today, you can find many West Africans across the world lightheartedly debating who makes the best jollof. It's a debate that has even reached African presidents. All right, guys, we're here at our first location. It's a Nigerian restaurant called Amarachi, and I'm here with Ijama.
I'm super excited to be here because I'm Nigerian, so I am excited to try out Amarachi's Nigerian take on jollof rice. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the best, but I'm gonna try my best to be unbiased.
All right, let's go check this out.
Amarachi represents Nigeria, Wazobia, the eastern and southern parts of Nigeria, of Igbo and Yoruba descent. Before we had a restaurant, it was always a big deal for us to find a Nigerian restaurant to go eat at. So we decided let's take on this task of providing a nice, comfortable place where you can have home food that you're very comfortable with and you're familiar with in an upscale setting. So that's the whole idea behind Amarachi, bringing Africa into the 21st century through our lens, not someone else's. The base of a good jollof are the seasonings, especially if you're definitely making jollof for Nigerians. You want it very spicy. You want a lot of pepper in it. You want them sweating when they're eating it. Grab a nice big spoon and dig in. So we have here our signature jollof rice dish with stewed chicken drumettes and sweet plantains.
I'm gonna take a bite.
Dig in.
It's incredibly savory, incredibly flavorful. I'm tasting a lot of tomato.
It's very tomato based.
Yeah.
Which is always a good thing. There's a little bit of spice there. Could always use a little bit more spice, but since this is your first time having Nigerian jollof, what are your thoughts so far?
I'm really in love with it, honestly. When I usually have rice, it's like hard, the grains are hard, or it's just not meant to be the flavorful main dish experience. But this is like treating rice really well, treating it, putting it on a pedestal. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I think in America, a lot of times rice is served as a side dish, and in West Africa, it really is the main dish and like the staple of the foods that we eat.
And rightfully so, because this thing is delicious. I'm not honestly like done with this interview. I'm just trying to eat this now. All right, guys, we're here at our second location. Ijama, where are we?
We are currently in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn at Jollof Restaurant. It is a Senegalese restaurant, so pretty excited to see what a restaurant that calls itself Jollof, how their jollof tastes.
The restaurant started in 1995. My dad used to cook out of his apartment with my mom, and they'll go downtown Brooklyn selling it to different customers. They had specific customers who they would sell to, and then they decided, why not open up a restaurant? Love is the full base of good jollof rice. You have to know what you're doing, and you have to love this rice that you're cooking. We usually have it with fish. You'll have cabbage, cassava, carrot, yuca, sometimes eggplant, and also with some lime and some hot sauce.
Okay, Jama, you're having the short grain rice, jollof rice with fish, and I'm having the long grain jollof rice with chicken. I'm interested to see what you think of your first bite.
Let's see. So short grain rice, I don't think I've ever had short grain rice before. And it's giving me like couscous vibes. I'm a little bit thrown off. I'm a little bit thrown off with the size of the rice, but the flavor is really good.
Flavor's good.
The flavor is really, really good.
So I really like it. This has a similar tomato base as the last restaurant we had.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what you think is more authentic, because I remember at the end of our last experience you said that the jollof rice was not the same kind that you would have had at like parties.
Right.
So what do you think of this one?
That jollof rice is really, really good.
So you're more used to seeing this.
Yeah, that I'm used to. I'm gonna take another bite of this.
I want to try yours too.
Please do.
Well, as someone who doesn't have a lot of jollof experience, I really like this too.
I also like that this is served with a vegetable. You know, at the other restaurant we were given plantain and a little bit of onions, but not really
Like
a
a true
vegetable
vegetable
side. Yeah.
side. Yeah, it's nice to have like a real like veggie dish with the rice.
Right.
It tastes really good too.
I'm gonna see how their pepper adds to the flavor.
Is it good?
That's good.
I want to try some.
I think that adding pepper just like elevates all the flavors.
That's so good.
Yeah, it's
That is
really,
so
really good.
It's going to be a really tight race at the end, but if you guys don't mind excusing us, we have to finish these plates. We've been to Amarachi, we've been to Jollof, but now we're here at our final location. It's coming down to the wire. Ijama, where are we?
Today we're at Accra restaurant. It is in Harlem, and it's a Ghanaian restaurant, so we're gonna be trying out Ghana's version of jollof rice.
We decided to start Accra because we wanted people to get the real taste of African cuisine, particularly Ghana or the west coast of Ghana, the western part of Ghana, Africa in general. So we wanted everybody to get the same taste that we get when we think about home. The good base to the jollof is the beginning, the frying process, because the onions is also what give it its taste and its smell. And when you fry your onions and tomatoes, making sure that it's not overly cooked before you add the tomato paste and whatever you want to put into that jollof to give it that flavor. Senegalese use broken rice. Most Nigerians use parboiled rice. We the Ghanaians, predominantly we use jasmine rice. We predominantly use smoked turkey to get our flavor, so little variations and seasonings, but pretty much the same base.
Today, guys, we have fried plantains, jollof. Then we have steak with onion and tomato-based stew. That's the basis for the jollof rice. I hope you enjoy.
I think we are going to.
No, I know you're going to.
First things first, before we even dig in, the fact that this was served with stew is already like winning points for me.
Oh, okay.
I love stew. I think that all jollof rice should be served with stew.
And I think this is our first jollof rice with served with beef.
That's
If
correct.
I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to try
Yeah,
this.
all we've had so far has been chicken, so this should be good.
Yeah.
Even though the stew's already like cooked into the rice, I just feel like you just need extra stew. So
All right.
I really appreciate that they gave us some extra stew on the side
And I
to
think-
enjoy.
No, it's really good. You can really taste the tomato in this jollof rice. It's very present. And the onion too. I think you can taste the onion a lot more than the other restaurants.
Yeah, wow. The flavors are spot on. The spice is perfect. This
Really-
might be the one.
I'm really a fan of the texture of this rice. It's
Yeah.
not too hard, it's not too soft. It's right there in the middle. So I've got some beef here with the stew on top of it. And that's just fantastic. I'm really grateful that we had to try a fish dish, a chicken dish, and now a beef dish. My personal favorite out of the three is steak beef. So
I actually think this is like my least favorite protein.
beef.
No, in general, of the ones that we've had so far.
Okay.
This rice though, this rice is so good.
So eating the plantain, the beef, the stew, the jollof all together, and then thinking about the previous jollof rices we had, this is gonna be such a hard decision. I'm sort of leaning one way. I don't want to reveal yet, but this is really good.
Yeah, we've had different proteins, we've had different sides, we've had different like vegetable accompaniments. So we'll definitely have to kind of sit down and maybe make a list of all the different things that the different
pros and
restaurants had
cons.
going on. But this is definitely a contender for sure.
Yeah. All right, we're finally done. Ijama, thank you so much for taking me on this jollof journey.
You're so welcome.
I've had jollof before, but as I said earlier, I'm from East Africa and our rice is not as notable, I would say. There were obvious differences between each restaurant. Let's go through those a little bit.
So at Amarachi, they served us that really moist jollof rice with the side of chicken and the onions and the peppers. And I remember us being really surprised at how tender and soft the rice was.
Yeah.
Because some jollof can be quite dry, as we saw in some other restaurants. So I think that was the main difference between the Nigerian jollof and the other ones that we tasted. Then at Jollof, the Senegalese jollof, we actually were presented with two different kinds of jollof rice, which probably is like not really fair because all the other restaurants only presented one.
Yeah, I remember you weren't such a big fan of the short grain jollof.
I wasn't. I did prefer the long grain jollof. It's just because it's closer to what I'm used to. I haven't really had short grain jollof that much. The flavor was a bit stronger and had a little bit more depth to it, but it was also drier than the Nigerian and the Ghanaian versions that we had. And then lastly, we went to a Accra restaurant, which is the Ghanaian version of jollof. And that was served with the steak and the stew and the plantains on the side. So that was really, really good. The color of that was actually a bit deceptive because it was pretty light compared to the other ones that we had, especially the Senegalese one was really, really dark and really rich. The Ghanaian jollof was really light, but it still had a lot of flavor in it.
All right, it's time to settle this debate once and for all. I'm gonna choose Amarachi as my favorite jollof rice. That is the Nigerian restaurant. I was just a really big fan of the tenderness of the rice. The rice was very soft. The side dishes were really good as well. And I think Amarachi had the best presentation of the actual plate too. The way that they kind of gave the jollof rice that bowl shape and then put the sides around it. It was all just really beautiful. That was my favorite one. What about you?
So I really want to pick Amarachi as my favorite, especially since I'm Nigerian. But my one critique of Amarachi is actually that I think it was too moist. So typical jollof, like party jollof, can't be that moist. It just can't. It can't serve 400 people being that moist.
It's not sustainable?
It's not, it's not. So I feel like it works for a restaurant, but like, is that like authentic jollof?
Okay.
I don't know. The flavor was there, the heat was there, but the way that you talked about Amarachi's presentation being like very proper and very pretty, you don't need jollof to be cute. You just need it to taste good. And so what was the most authentic and the most flavorful for me was Accra's jollof. I know that's like gonna get me killed. So Accra, you know, it was a huge plate, it was a massive plate.
Yeah, it was.
They just threw some stew on top, threw the plantains there, dusted it off with some lettuce, and that's really all you need.
That's all you need?
You just need 2 pieces of lettuce and a huge plate of rice.
Yeah.
That was really good. That was the best rice that we've had, in my opinion.
Okay, so as an uncultured jollof eater, I have to say that the Nigerians made it the best.
As we usually do. I will say though, from the ones that we've tried, I do think that the Ghanaians really hit it out of the park this time. I'm not saying that Ghana makes the best jollof. I'm saying of the jollof that we had, Ghana made the best jollof.
All right.
But, you know,
I'm praying
Nigeria still has the best
I'm
jollof.
praying for your mentions.